Hey Dave,
Yeah?
I wanted to share a truck joke with you, but I changed my mind.
Why?
It was only semi-funny.
Hey Adam, how's it going, man?
It's going great.
All right, so let's talk about something that's pretty popular in your industry. It's getting wheels and tires put on your truck.
Wheels and tires.
Yeah. How common is this? Like, how often?
It's very common, especially when people want to level or lift their truck. They want to go with a cooler wheel or a bigger tire, or keep their factory wheels and go with a bigger tire. And you really need to educate yourself on how big it can go, or else you'll be in big trouble.
What are some of the things that people need to know when they decide to get a bigger wheel or tire put on?
It depends on your truck make.
Okay.
Your truck, small truck, big truck. Every different make runs different offsets. If you're going to lift it, you can usually get a bigger tire. That's why most people lift or level their truck, is to try to fit a bigger, more aggressive all-terrain mud tire, whatever, underneath it.
Okay. What's the most common request you get then?
The most common request is people are trying to save money. They want to see how big a tire they can put on their factory wheel, which is, unless you're changing the offset, putting like a wheel spacer or something on there, getting it away from your suspension components, you can't go much bigger on your tires usually, but you can go slightly bigger, and slightly bigger sometimes helps.
Okay.
Yeah, you just don't want to run the course of running into your upper control arm, your sway bars, any of that stuff when you turn. It's all about turning. We can put the biggest tires on the back.
Right.
We can put some 40s on the back. It's all about the front. Yeah, and when you turn, hitting things.
So people will put tires on that are too big and actually have those things happen?
Yeah, it's very common. We get a lot of people here that they went to another tire shop and put a bigger wheel on that doesn't quite work for them. And what we end up doing is usually trimming or pushing some stuff out of the way, or cutting some stuff out of the way, which we can sometimes do. If it's hitting your steering components, like your upper control arms and your sway bars, we cannot cut that out.
Right.
We can only push fender liners forward, maybe cut and re-weld some bump stops and stuff like that. But yeah, you're not or get a different bumper that's a high clearance for bigger tires.
Right. I'm just shocked that people would do this and not have someone tell them that this might happen.
Yeah, it's man, they just man, those look so cool. I want them on my truck, and they don't put no more thought into it, and they do look good. But when it comes to time they drive off and they turn the first corner, they're like, and all they hear is it rubbing against something, which sounds awful. Yeah, they instantly regret it.
So if you get this done by a shop and that's what happens, that shop didn't know what they were doing then?
They may have warned them, but a lot of people that don't hear it. They're just like, it looks cool, I'll put it in my truck. A lot of times it's people buying online. You buy online, those look cool online. They don't pay attention to what all the other numbers mean. Like all they see is the bolt pattern. The bolt pattern works, but what they may not look at is it has like a negative 44 offset, which means it's shooting it way outside of the truck. Truck looks like a roller skate. And then when it goes to the tire size too, they may have gone too big of a tire, too wide of a tire that doesn't quite fit on the wheel, and creates a lot of problems.
So when someone comes in and asks you guys for new tires or wheels, what's the process you go with them?
So it's a long process, kind of, because I want them to like the wheel, because it's a very expensive choice to make for your truck. It's probably one of the higher up, just like a lift kit. It's one of the higher end things to do to your truck. A set of wheels and tires are going to cost you, at bare minimum, let's say $2,000 for the wheels. I mean, you may find better deals. Just depends on which ones you end up going with and what you like. If you like chrome or polished, it's going to set you back quite a bit. Usually your solid colors, like your blacks and gray and bronze, which are really popular right now, aren't as expensive as those ones. So they can set you back, I won't say like $300 to $500 a wheel easily, and you can get and onwards. And the tires are going to be the same. The bigger the tire, the more rubber, the more expensive it's going to be. So I always tell everybody to just bet on about $4,000 worth of work when you're buying a set of wheels and tires together, and then on up. I mean,
Right.
it can go, the sky's the limit. There's some really expensive wheels out there.
So after you pick the tires and wheels, then what do you do with them?
So that's a long process because there's so many flavors of wheels and tires. I basically sit them down, kind of go through a couple, and I tell them, most people it's such a big decision, and there's so many flavors that I basically send them home. I say, here, take a look at these, sit on the couch, kind of like get an idea of what you want, and give me 5 that you like, you know, because what happens is they are either out of stock, they only have 3 in stock, which does us no good, or they don't fit their truck at all. It's something that's just not going to work with their truck. The offset's too aggressive or not aggressive enough for the tire size that they want, or the price is insane. You know, they're like, whoa, I wasn't looking to spend $1,000 a wheel. And I'm like, I get it. Plus the tires.
Right.
So that's kind of the process. Once they come back and we find the actual one that they want, we check the offset, make sure it's not going to rub, and then we go from there. We check all this, so do all our research, you know, and make sure that the wheel is going to work on the truck.
Right. So that research, what does that entail?
So you want to check the offsets. Usually I start with like, I like to know what the factory offset is for the truck. Let's say most trucks, let's like take like a Chevy or a GM. They're usually at like a positive 26. About 26 millimeters equals an inch. So I like to give that to my customers too. About 26 millimeters is an inch. So when you go to a 0, that means you're pushing the wheel out 1 inch. When you do to negative 26, that's pushing it out 2 inches from that positive 26, so on and so forth. So you can kind of give them an idea of how much it's going to stick out. Plus, we're going to be probably going with a wider rim, and that's going to add us a little bit of girth too, pushing it out as well. And then the tire, which could be if they want to do 33, 35s, 37s, they come in like 1250s, which is 12.5 inches wide, or 1350, which is 13.5 inches wide. So that again pushes it out even further. So it's just it's a formula that you kind of have to figure out, and that's what we're here for, to figure that formula out, to make it ride the best, and
there's no rubbing,
and have no rubbing, or at least the amount of rubbing possible. And if it does rub, something that we can like trim or push forward the fender liner, if it's doable or not. And we've seen it because we've done so many. We know what we can get away with for the most part on certain trucks. Now, what throws us for a loop is somebody buys us a new truck and it's a new body style, and we're like, oh, I don't know. Like when the new Toyota Tundras came out, and people were, I mean, the new TRD Pro, you can put 35s factory. You don't have to do anything to it. 35-inch tires work just fine. Now that can't be said for a lot of other trucks. Like just stock wanting to throw 35s on your Chevy or your F-150 or your Ram, it doesn't work. We need to do some suspension work to get it up and make the clearance to clear like a 35-inch tire. Unless you got an F-250 or 350, those bigger trucks, you can get away probably with a level kit and easily do 35s and 37s in some cases.
I see.
Yeah.
So basically, pick the tire and wheels, make sure it's aesthetically pleasing to what you want, and then you guys go in and make sure it functions correctly.
Right. And I wanted to pick a tire that works for them as well.
Right.
So it depends on their lifestyle. You know, like what are your plans with the truck? Are you planning on it's a pavement princess?
Right.
Again, are you trying to get a lot of mileage? You do a lot of highway driving, or are you doing like construction, or are you pulling a trailer? All these things are coming to mind when picking out a tire, because you got different loads, which are a different ply, which means they're stiffer tires. So like if you're pulling heavy loads, you want like a more ply, you want stiffer tires to handle the weight. So there's also warranty. So the higher the warranty on a tire usually means the longer they last. All-terrain tires don't last very long comparatively to like a car tire. Car tires last quite a while because all they see is street use, and they don't have like a dual function, street and actually taking it off road. Mud terrain tires end up being loud and they don't last very long. It's a very soft compound, not really made to go 80
How many
miles.
miles are you thinking?
Oh, the mud tires, 40,000 usually. All terrains, you can get 45 to 55 usually, depending on the all terrain. And mud terrains, you're kind of lucky to get 40, I feel like, and they are loud. So that's another thing you got to take it. You're taking that look, or do you really need mud terrains? Are you going off and using those mud terrains, or you just like the look of them? And if you like the look of them and you're okay with the short lifespan and the noise that they make, then so be it. We'll do it for you, you know. But most people go with the all terrain, and there's a bunch out there. Some more aggressive than others. Let's take Toyo, for example. Toyo's coming out with some really good stuff. They got the RTs and the RT Trails that they just came out with that are kind of like hybrid tires. It kind of looks like a mud terrain, all terrain, and it does great on the highway or on the street. That's actually what I'm running right now is the RT Trails. We've been running the regular RTs, and they've done great. And before we ran the Toyo AT3s, which are an amazing tire, easily get 55,000 miles out of them, which is awesome for an all-terrain tire. They're kind of like a do-it-all tire. You can actually get out there and kind of run the streets and actually go off-road with them and do fine. So that's kind of what I kind of throw out there too. People love Nittos, they love the Falcons, they love BFGs, it's BF Goodrich. Yeah, those are probably like the main four that we sell. Yokohama are good, have some good MTs that I really like. Yeah, it just boils down to what they want to do with the truck and how it goes. Now, usually I can save them a little bit money when it comes to tire size. So like, let's say they want like a 35, 1250, 20. You can get that in a different combination. So like you can do it with like a 305, 65, 20 or 305, 55, 20, whichever it is. In the price is a lot less, but if you needed to say 35 by 1250, 20, then we can do that as well. But usually, like on an all-terrain, a 35 is usually equivalent of a 34 and a half. They're not a true 35. And whereas if you do that like 305, so on and so forth, you can actually get a true 35 out of that tire. Every little bit helps.
Right. Well, it seems like there's a lot of things to think about when someone's thinking about doing this.
There is.
So they just need to do their homework and then also find a shop that'll help them through this process.
Yeah. I mean, it helps a lot. Doing your research, seeing what fits, see when everybody else tried. I get a lot of responses. They're like, "Oh, this guy put 37s on his truck online." It says, and he says it doesn't rub. I was like, "Well, would you admit if it did online?" You know, so it's like, I don't know. I take all that with a grain of salt. The stuff you see online, you're like, "Oh, it fits just fine." I put wheels on here. I'm like, this is gonna rub. Oh, that's fine. It just rubs a little bit. Now, are they gonna tell people that it rubs a little bit? Probably not, because it sounds awful when you're backing out of a parking space and it's, you know. So yeah, take your
find
time.
someone that'll help you through the process, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for this tire wheel tip.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with another video in a little bit and talk about more trucks, accessories, and parts.
Can do, man.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Thanks, Adam.
All right. Talk to you later.